Hello, I'm Stephen Haines, and today we're going to talk about best-in-class product management. And to do this, we're going to try to introduce you to us a little bit more. We're going to talk about the dynamic nature of markets and the situation with product management, and we're going to talk a little bit about what desirable product management looks like and what undesirable product management look like, so that we can talk about what it takes to achieve best-in-class product management. So a little bit more about sequent learning networks. I'd like to just talk to you about my vision, and that is to professionalize product management. So I don't need to tell you that the business environment is incredibly complex. Markets are global, supply chains are complex, and your customers are facing incredible challenges. They're looking for greater levels of efficiency, they're looking for greater revenue, and what makes it even more complicated is that there are more purchasers, there are more decision makers, and there's greater complexity in the customer segments themselves. We all learn in market segmentation that there are buyers, there are users, there are influencers, and there are decision makers. So if we think about that, there are many, many more influencers, and there are many, many more decision makers. So customers who are those influencers and decision makers, they don't want to hear about features and functions and things like that. What they want to know is, how are you going to help me improve my business? What's the value that you're bringing to me? And when you understand my business and how I do what I do, then I will perceive you as a strategic partner. And that's what we're looking for, and that's what you need to start adopting and thinking about as you start to move toward best-in-class product management. People confuse product management with product development, and people in product development confuse it with product management. And because there's no real documented standard, even product management is carried out in different ways in the same company as well as across companies. So what is best-in-class product management, and how do we know? So product management isn't a job title. Product management isn't what marketing does. What product management is genetic to the firm. And so what that means is it's a commitment by a company to the efficient management of products from beginning to end. So it doesn't necessarily mean from idea to launch, and it doesn't mean from launch to discontinuation. It means from beginning to end. So a product manager is a person who is appointed to be a product or product line. We call it a mini business owner. You could think about it as a general manager or a CEO of a product. And that person is responsible for leading a cross-functional product team. So operative words, they're appointed, and their job is to lead a team. And it is the team's responsibility to optimize the performance of the product across its life cycle and consistent with the financial and strategic imperatives of the organization. Product manager is a leader. The issue with product managers and leadership is the fact that nobody works for them. And so what they have to do is earn their credibility, get people to follow them and to listen to them by the things that they say and they do. And that's tantamount to being an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurs are very spirited, they're very passionate, very committed. And what they do is they get people to see the end game, they see their vision, and then they use these great networking skills. It's almost like they're politicians that allow them to navigate through the organization to get everybody motivated to go in the same direction. Leadership also requires an intense market focus, but entrepreneurs notice the nuance. And when they do that, they're able to communicate that to other people and then help those people to act with the kind of agility that's necessary in order to compete vigorously. Product leaders also provide great documentation. They do business cases. Not only do they do business cases, they do business cases together as a collaborative team. They also apply financial techniques. You need financial acumen in order to be able to manage the business, since money is the language of business. And lastly, they use all of that data to make the most appropriate decisions on behalf of the business. So if we understand this universe of work, then who's going to carry out the work? And some of the work is going to be carried out by a product manager. Some of the work is going to be carried out by marketing, and maybe even other people. But the idea is somebody has to see the larger picture and make sure that all of that work gets done and is orchestrated in the most appropriate way at the right time. So how do we know what best-in-class product management is? For about 15 years, both in my corporate life and my current life, we've interviewed hundreds of people in hundreds of companies. And the kinds of things we have always wanted to know is, what kinds of things do you do when your products and services tend to be more successful? So one of the things that we find most often is what makes a company market-driven. All right, why they focus so strongly on customers and on competitors and on the industries in which they operate. The second point has to do with strategic clarity. In many companies, when products and services aren't successful, and we ask people, well, what strategy is your product aligned with? Many times people are not able to tell us. But when they tell us, we understand why we're developing what we're developing and why we're bringing to market what we're bringing to market, they're able to be, or at least have the chance of achieving higher levels of success. Additionally, what these companies do is they manage portfolios of products and product lines, and they make decisions as if they were managing investments. So they allocate the investments according to the strategic importance or market importance of a given product or a given product line. And when they have business cases to create, to justify future investments, those investments are lined up with the portfolio strategies of those organizations. And as they create those business cases, they use cross-functional product teams to make the most appropriate decisions on behalf of the business. And to that end, when people are creating the business case together, the roles and responsibilities of those team members are very, very clearly organized. And what all of this comes together as is the team sport metaphor. And that is everybody works together toward a common goal. And that is one of the characteristics that distinguishes best-in-class companies from other companies. So I want to talk to you about what market-driven really means. So first, let's define the market. A marketplace is just buyers and sellers coming together to exchange goods and services. So let's talk about the sellers. The sellers are competitors. And if you're going to be a good competitor, you need to understand about what your competitors are doing in terms of positioning their products and the strategies that they're using to support their customers in the marketplace. The second point has to do with your customers. And it's your job to make sure that you understand what customers do, how they do it, and how their needs change all the time. Being a market-driven company also means that people are sharing the data they collect. So as you've encouraged people in your team to put up the market radar and constantly scanning the horizon so that everybody understands what it is that's going on in the marketplace. When you have many, many different points of view because you're looking at different data points, when everybody comes together in a cross-functional environment, you have the best chance of coming up with opportunities that make the most sense and might more significantly impact the marketplace. Product managers have the power to create and perpetuate a culture of sharing and really focusing on the marketplace. And this is particularly important when products tend to commoditize over time and that you have to start to draw a really strong balance between the products that you bring to the marketplace, the value they bring, and the cultivation of the corporate brand that brings the whole thing together. One of the most undesirable characteristics in product management has to do with how companies tend to organize themselves. When companies are organized in functional silos, or some people call swim lanes, they tend to perpetuate their own functional agendas, which means that a marketing department wants to do what a marketing department wants to do, product development does what they want to do, and maybe they come together at some point. And so those agendas can be kind of destructive to an organization. We also see that in some organizations, when the product development process is very, very technical or engineering driven, it becomes very, very rigid. And it doesn't really allow for the nuances of the marketplace that are so important to market-driven companies. So another undesirable characteristic for product management has to do with something we call customer centricity. Imagine a very large company or a large customer coming to you and say, could you build one of these for me? And because there's so much money involved, everybody says, okay, let's go build this for this person or this company. And when you do that, you take away resources from other projects that could be strategically critical for the firm. It doesn't mean that this is wrong all the time, but if it happens so often, it takes your eyes off of the marketplace and pulls your eyes internally inside of the company. That's not such a good thing. Another undesirable characteristic has to do with how business cases get created. Sometimes business cases in an undesirable state are done just by one person, a product manager or a marketer, or maybe even a product developer. Business cases need to be done in a cross-functional environment. Other undesirable characteristics have to do with the fact that decisions are very often made without facts or data, sometimes based on supposition. And very often decisions are made without understanding what the strategic impact is going to be of those decisions. And lastly, one of the things that are critical to running a successful business has to do with making a plan, establishing metrics, and looking back to see how well you did. And an undesirable characteristics in product management is when people don't look back and they don't take the most appropriate corrective actions that result in new strategies and new tactics. Desirable product management is when teams of people in a product team own the business of their product. That is so critical because everybody sees the same thing. And so that goes hand in hand with vision. A product manager or a team leader may establish that vision or that future state, and they get everybody to play together. So everybody is working toward that end. And so also, because we're working in a cross-functional environment, the team leverages each other's strengths. And when you're leveraging each other's strengths, and when you're, for instance, applying a new product development process and trying to process all of the market signals, the team, seeing all of these signals together, works together in a much more effective fashion. That's more effective product management. Best-in-class product management talks specifically about having financial facts, having market data, and making the most appropriate decisions, and then going back and looking at the plans that you made with those metrics that are financial and market in nature, and seeing how well you did so that you can make the most appropriate strategic and tactical improvements to the business of the product. A lot of what we're talking about in terms of best-in-class product management involves change. It doesn't mean by the next week everybody is going to magically transform themselves into best-in-class product managers and product teams. It does take some time. So the kinds of things you'll see as you see your organization evolve over time has to do with perhaps the portfolio of products. The portfolio of products is more finely tuned. It's a mix of products and services that make the most sense for the market areas that you're going to be focusing on. Another way you'll know is that people are working together. A capable group of skilled people will work together on behalf of the business to produce the products that are necessary in order for your company to be successful. And when everybody sees things the same way, it gives you the opportunity to be more consistent, to call things by the same names. It means it's a common vocabulary. You have the same documents, the same terminology, and so you're much, much more efficient in how you carry out your work. And then you just become a much better competitor. You're an agile competitor, and you are going after your competitors. And what's a very, very interesting thing to see is how people's attention turn to the marketplace and making the competition your enemy instead of your internal constituencies. And your products achieve the desired market and financial performance, and most importantly, your customers keep buying your products and they keep recommending you to other people, and you sell more and more and gain the market share that you really deserve. So I thank you for spending the time with me today. And when I wrote the Product Manager's Desk reference, one of the things that was most important to me was to help people understand that this is a journey. Product management isn't a single point in time, and in your careers you're going to be growing and learning. And it is a journey, and from this point on, I do wish you safe journeys.